You have said that you're ready to reinvent yourself year after year after year, and you have sworn that this year is going to be different. But fear of failure is holding you back. Today, we're talking about failures and why the fear of failing has been holding you back on your reinvention journey. Oh, honey, I hope you're ready for this episode. If you are, get your pen, get your Post-it, get your ambition planner, and let's go. Hello, Ambition Babes. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dion, also known as the face of ambition, across all social media platforms, as well as wherever you listen to your podcasts. I create content for women who are on a reinvention journey, who are ready to level up and are tired of allowing fear, lack of confidence, and insecurities to hold them back. So if that is content that you are consuming, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel, like this video, and make sure that you share this video with your sister, your best friend, your cousin, and your partner. Because today we're talking about the fear of failure. There are two things that I'm probably obsessed with talking about, and one is money, and the second is failures. I like talking about failure so much that for a few years I had a podcast called The Failure Report, where I interviewed entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs who had successfully failed in business. I enjoyed listening to stories as to how every single failure was just a setup for success. And although I don't interview individuals on The Failure Report anymore, that doesn't mean that I don't create my own failure report almost every single day. The day that I realized that I wanted to talk about failures was the day that I heard myself lying about my failures to a colleague. We were at a networking event and everyone was standing around talking about how successful they were, how this quarter was better than the last, how they're doing so well, and how they're meeting all their projections. And when the conversation came around to me and they asked how business was going this year, I heard myself be honest. I heard myself say that business was horrible this year. I heard myself say that we're hemorrhaging money, that I don't know how I'm going to make payroll, that I feel like that the business plan that we created earlier this year needed to be thrown away. I heard myself be honest for once about my biggest fear, which was to be seen as a failure to other individuals. Because when I looked at myself in the mirror, and even whenever I was talking to my team, I knew that things were not going as planned. But whenever I went outside, and I put on my mask, I allowed myself to tell other people that everything was going just fine. But what happened in that small circle at that networking event was at the moment that I was honest with myself, I created a safe space for others to be honest as well. The guy that had just said he was excited about meeting his projections for that year backed up that statement and said he doesn't even know if he's going to be able to make the projections that he set for this month. The girl that was just talking about how their product sales are exceeding their greatest expectations was ready to admit that she was so burnt out that she just got out of bed for the day when she came to this event. We're so scared to talk about our failures because we assume that we're the only one struggling. Somehow we've gotten into our minds that everybody else is doing wonderfully. Somehow we've gotten into our minds that everybody else's life is perfect and ours is the only one sitting in a valley experience. And when it has come to reinventing yourself, you have allowed the fear of being seen trying to hold you back from even starting. You're afraid of the disappointment, the rejection, and judgment. You've allowed the voice of perfectionism to tell you that it has to be absolutely perfect before you start. You have allowed yourself to believe this made-up fantasy that the moment that it is perfect in your eyes, you'll be successful. And because you're chasing perfection, it has led to inaction, procrastination, and you have given up on your dream over and over and over again. You are sitting with a pit in your belly of unfulfilled potential and regret. God has told you that you're supposed to start the business. He's maybe even giving you the money, the mentorship, and the skills and knowledge to do it. But the act of fear of failing is holding you back from being obedient to God's plan for your life. You want to try a new style. You have fitness goals. You want to embrace your femininity, but you're afraid of judgment. You're afraid of other individuals assuming that you're trying to be like somebody else, or that you've changed, or that you're in your bougie season. You're ready for personal growth and development. You're ready to try new hobbies and new skills. You're ready to learn something new. You desire a deeper spiritual connection. You want to build healthy relationships. You want to actually have a bestie. You want that girlfriend circle where you guys meet up and you go on trips and you go to brunch, but you've allowed fear to stop you from sliding in that girl's DM and asking her to go out to dinner with you and another group of girlfriends. Fear is holding you back from your potential. There is a fire in your belly and a dream in your heart that is waiting for you to to show up, but you're scared you're going to fail. That is why I'm so excited about this video. In today's video, I'm going to break down the 5 reasons why failure is essential to growth and uncover why failing is actually a vital part of your reinvention journey. Number 1, failure provides clarity and direction. When you allow yourself to try and fail, you actually are able to see what works and what doesn't work. All the other lessons that we'd rather not learn, we know then what not to do or what we need to try again with just a little tweaking. Deciding that you're going to fail to actually figure out what works helps to refine your strategy. When I was starting this YouTube channel, I was determined to ensure that I failed fast and frequently. I tried different thumbnails, different topics, different locations of filming throughout my house. I've tried different intros, different attire, because no matter what I think will work, my goal is to be able to empower women to reinvent themselves and reach their most ambitious goals. So if I'm so fearful to fail, I'm going to continue to do the same old thing, the same old way, and I'm going to be expecting a different result whenever my goal isn't just to produce a video, but it is to empower and impact another life. Therefore, I have to be seen trying. I have to try something new. I have to step outside of my comfort zone. I have to allow every single setback to be a setup for success. Which brings me to number 2. Failure builds resilience. Every setback teaches you how to bounce back. There's some mistakes that you've made in relationships that you don't ever have to worry about making again. In that last relationship, you weren't emotionally aware and mature enough to be able to have a healthy marriage or partnership. And even though the breakup ended in heartache, your bounce back is about to be amazing because you've matured, you've learned, you've grown, you've identified the areas where you can be better, and you've created boundaries and non-negotiables. You now know the difference between compromising and settling. When you start facing mental challenges in your work life, in your spiritual life, in your professional life, you have the emotional fortitude in order to withstand it. When you think about your last professional failure and you got fired from that job that you loved so much, whatever the reason was that caused you to get fired, I bet you didn't allow that to happen again. You know more, you're more intelligent, you're more perceptive and wise because of your failures. Number 3 is that failure sparks creativity and innovation. Someone really smart a long time ago said that failure is the mother of innovation. When you think about all of the inventors centuries ago or even today, we have found innovation due to having a lack in a certain area. Somebody's grandma was sitting around and didn't have any eggs to make that pound cake, but she realized that like 90% of mayonnaise was eggs, and so she put mayonnaise in that recipe as opposed to 5 eggs and made the best pound cake that has ever melted in your mouth. Failing forces you to think outside of the box and explore new ideas that you may have never considered. So many of us have experienced failures that were out of our control. I will never forget March 13th through the 30th, 2020, when 100% of my marketing company's clients called me and terminated their contracts. So many individuals were fearful about what was going to happen with COVID that they wanted to put their marketing services on pause until we all figured out what was going to happen with the world. Although those days were some of the darkest days and months of my life, I will never forget my husband leaning over me in the bed one mid-April morning and challenging me to get up and do something. He knew how many times I had failed before, and he couldn't understand why I was allowing this setback to set me all the way back. And so I decided to pull out a product that we had developed a few months before that we thought we were going to white label and sell to another company. I decided to sit at my desk in those lonely starter days of COVID and revamp and tweak what is now known as the Ambition Planner. Today, we have sold thousands of planners to women around the world. I never went back to providing marketing services the way that I did 15 years before COVID, and it has changed my life completely. Mind you, I thought that me not being able to white label and sell the Ambition Planner was a failure. I felt like something was wrong with the planner as to why every time a woman came to the table to purchase it, the deal fell through. But what I couldn't see is that God was preserving that planner for that moment in late April when He was going to need for me to develop that product so that I could help others. Me not being able to sell the planner to somebody else was the gag. What I thought was a failure was actually a setup for success. Number 4 is that failing cultivates humility and self-awareness. Allowing yourself to fail keeps you grounded and helps you to recognize areas for self-development and growth. It teaches you to embrace imperfections and to seek continuous improvement. If every single thing we touch turned to gold, we would think that we were kingmakers. failures. But the moment that we have to struggle in the paint sometimes is the moment that we're humbled and we leave room for God to actually work his good and perfect will in our life. Oh yeah, we're quick to say we stand on Jeremiah 29:11, but in true actuality, we want our plans. We don't want God's plan for our life. But when we allow ourselves to fail fast and frequently, we're able to get the feedback that we need to improve, reassess, and become better. And the fifth reason why failing is essential to growth during your reinvention journey is that failing fuels confidence and courage. Once you have faced failure and survived, you're just less afraid to fail again. Each and every experience builds confidence to take risk and to step outside your comfort zone. Failing forward allows you to be able to see how every single failure is a stepping stone to your success. Your marriage had to fail and you moved back home with your parents so that you could save the money that you needed to get your real estate license, to build the business, to start the hair salon, to become the influencer. The failure that you experienced of not having success the very first time you started that podcast was absolutely imperative to giving you the book idea, to helping others along their journey, to causing you to be in that coffee shop writing out your ideas where that man walked in the door and he became your future husband. If you don't remember anything else that I have said about failures today, I want you to remember this. Failures happen for you, not to you. Failing happens for your good. We always assume that failing happened to you to hurt you, to set you back, to deflate you, and to cause you to have a lack of confidence. But if you allow yourself to remember every single time you've had a setback, you can trace that setback directly to a time where it set you up for future success. So if every single success that you had was on the back of a failure, it seems as if we shouldn't be afraid to fail and should fail as fast and as frequently as possible. Failures happen for you, sis. Don't allow fear of failure to stop you in this season of your life. We are waiting for you. You have a fire in your belly that has been keeping you up at night that no longer deserves to stay inside of you. Whatever it is or whoever you want to be in this new season of life, consider this your permission to glow up. Oh, honey, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode. And if you are in need of having an accountability partner and community to help you hold you accountable to your goals and to celebrate your failures and your successes, consider joining Clickish. Our membership is now open, and I cannot wait to be your personal accountability partner on your glow up journey. Honey, I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I pray that you are well and that you're doing something every single day to reach your most ambitious goals.